Good morning, class. We are going to get into a discussion about accessing and reviewing content on our Blackboard. Then we're going to go ahead and continue with a discussion covering the syllabus and the calendar for the semester. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right into this. So, when we're reviewing the syllabus, we're going to take a look at, of course, the introduction, but you'll also see at the end there's a course calendar. We will cover this more in depth, but I did want to just cover some basics at the beginning. So, of course, this is going to be English 1301 A9. It's a completely online course. So, you see for the classroom, it is online. The CRN is going to be the course registration number, so you can go ahead and access that if you need it for anything. Specifically, you'll probably need it for the end of class teacher evaluations. So just go ahead and make sure you keep it handy when you need to. So there are no physical classroom appointments or meetings. So that means even any office hours or conferences we have will be done through Blackboard or Zoom or Teams Messenger, whatever is convenient or best for you. We can go ahead and set that up. So with that being said, you do need to get a hold of me ahead of time, either by accessing my email, which is there in blue, or you can send a text message. Please do include your name and do not call or text or send any messages at inappropriate times, meaning anything that's too late or super early if you get around to being that early. Um, while I do find myself often working, since I do work full time and I teach 5 part-time classes, you should still not send any messages. It says after midnight on this syllabus, but the truth is I probably won't be replying to anything after 8 p.m. So make sure that you keep your text messages at those reasonable times between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Okay. Lastly, I do want to cover that there are no required text. If you have already purchased your book, don't feel bad about it. It's definitely going to be needed in 1302, so please do hold on to it. But for this class specifically, it's an open source class. We're going to use all documents that I provide to you or links that we can access on the web, right? And so um, you'll notice here on the calendar, sometimes I provide the links in there. I'll also go ahead and include them on Blackboard so that way you can access them. And the week by week just gives a general idea of what is coming up for that week. It includes the topics that we will be discussing. And additionally, it also includes any assigned readings or assignments that we're going to cover. And then it has the due dates or those assignments that are due by Friday in the right hand column. So if you look at week 1, you'll see that we have the introduction to course and covering information in the syllabus. And we're also going to talk about the diagnostic essay. Now that will be forthcoming in the Thursday's lecture, so please keep an eye out for that. Um, Under the text and assigned readings, you will see that I do assign Amy Tan's mother tongue. This again is going to be accessible through Blackboard, um, and then you will be required to later in the week post on the discussion board about Amy Tan, and we'll cover a little bit more of that discussion board, the requirements of it. But that's going to be weekly. Every assigned reading is going to have a discussion board post on it that you will be replying to and engaging with other students with. Okay, and then you'll see lastly assignments due by Friday. It says diagnostic essay. That's what's going to be made available. Now you can turn it in as early as you want from Thursday to Friday, but we're not going to cover as much information, and I'm not going to provide an assignment sheet for it until Thursday. Um, so if you need more time, just let me know ahead of time, and then I'll consider maybe making those available, at least for this week. Next week, we will be discussing more of the information. I'll be giving you more of the groundwork for the assignments. But for this week, just to give it a little bit more of that class feel, we're starting off with a syllabus and an introduction to the course, as well as accessing Blackboard as a whole. Okay? All right. So you'll notice when you access your Blackboard, that you will see um, all the content you can access on the left hand side. Here it says my grades, syllabus week 1, and discussion board. Um, you can access them by double clicking on them. For example, the yellow highlighted syllabus you can access at any time. Click on it and it'll take you to the syllabus page where you can either download or view the syllabus in the browser. Then you'll notice underneath that there's going to be a folder labeled week 1. You can access that folder and it's going to have everything that we need for to cover in this week, at least week 1 in there. And then of course you'll also see discussion boards. As we continue throughout the semester, I will be releasing and making more and more weeks visible, so that way it's not just a one and done. I've done it in the past where students have just come in, they see all the weeks and all the assignments, and they take it upon themselves to just complete everything within the first couple of weeks without listening to the lectures, without going through and having a discussion about the content. And unfortunately, it doesn't bode too well. They tend to assume they know the how to complete the assignment, and a lot of times they miss some of the parameters, making it difficult to score highly. So please keep an eye out for that. But let's go ahead and take a look at week 1 in depth. So on the right here, you'll see all the items in there. As soon as this video becomes published, you'll also see it available in there as a video. But we can take a look. So at the top, you'll have Mother Tongue by Amy Tan. Beneath that, you have the diagnostic essay assignment. Beneath that, you'll also have an AP cover page fundamentals link. And then you'll see the updated syllabus. So the document with an A and the down arrow shows that to be a document that you can access. Of course, the one that says a link, that is the AP cover page fundamentals, you'll see the symbol next to it has a little link, and that's how you're going to differentiate between them. For the diagnostic essay, of course, you're going to click there to fully view the assignment details, as well as submit your assignment by the due date. So when you're just looking at it, Amy Tan, Mother Tongue, and the diagnostic essay may look very similar, but you'll see that there is the A with the down arrow differentiating them between a downloadable or viewable content versus the assignment. Okay, so if at any point it becomes too confusing, let me know and I'll start including a designator before them where it'll say assignment, or it'll say document, or it'll say link, so that way it just makes it a little bit easier for viewing. But for the most part, I haven't had a problem with that yet, so do let me know. Next, we're going to talk about the discussion board. So when you click on the link, if we take a look here, if you click on the link beneath week 1 where it says discussion board, you can go ahead and access that, and it'll take you to a thread. So I will be posting the threads weekly, and I will have a main thread, right? As for example, it says here, Ricardo Tinajero, that's me, your instructor. And underneath it, it says Mother Tongue by Amy Tan. You're going to click on the reply button in those threads in order to post your discussion for them. So please do make sure that you're keeping those discussions related to those topics, and you just don't throw random discussions in random threads. Again, I'll be creating them as we go, so you'll find them every week. Another thing to note is that part of the discussion or participation we're going to have for this class is how well you respond to your peers. So that means that after you post your response to the assigned reading, you must also engage by replying to a minimum of 2 other posts. You can reply to as many as you want, as long as you have something to say. It's best not to just go around replying, oh cool, yeah, I like that too, or something similar, right? If you're going to engage, respond to them in earnest or as fully as possible, meaning you're going to say, this is what I felt about your opinion. I agree because of insert own personal experience or reason, um, etc. So you should at least be replying with a couple of lines of text stating why you agree, or if you disagree, why you disagree. Now, you're more than welcome to disagree, but please remember to be courteous and do not use insulting language like, oh, this is stupid, or oh, this sucks. Um, Even if you have your reasons, always approach it like, I understand why you feel this way, but for me, it's more like this, and then insert your reason, right? So please be kind to each other. I don't want to have to go in there and break up any arguments via the message boards. I am not a moderator. I am your instructor. And so anybody who is um, being confrontational without expressing legitimacy in their reasons, right, is just being mean to be mean, will lose points and probably will have your message at least stricken from viewing, so they will not be able to view it. Okay, so again, the discussion boards access weekly, and always reply to the appropriate thread relating to that week's assigned reading. Lastly, when you are submitting a document, you're going to have to click on the highlighted, I'm sorry, in this case I highlighted the assignment, for example the document diagnostic essay. You're going to click on that, and it's going to provide you a little bit more information. So you'll see the full assignment information laid out, and it'll give you two options for submitting your assignment. One is text submission, and the other is attached files. Please do not use text submission. Always attach a file, meaning you should have Word document or the like that you can attach. Now, if you use an MacBook or anything like that, that's Apple product, to write your essays, and all you have is pages, unfortunately I cannot use them, so you're going to have to find a way to convert them into a Word document before attaching the file, right? And that's the only way I can open it up on my computer, which you might hear humming like a Boeing 747 in the background. It is a little bit old and a little bit too high powered for the case that it's in. So for that reason, you'll always hear this computer running in the background. But anyways, it is a PC, so that's why I must ask that you turn it in as a Word document and no other file format, okay, or the equivalent. Some programs do have documents that can be opened by Word document, so as long as that's available and that's how and that works, then you can upload that file. But again, unfortunately, no Pages or Apple products for writing, in this case, Pages specifically. So convert them, and then you can go ahead and post them. All right, so let's go ahead and get into how it all works and navigating Blackboard. Okay, so the quickest way to access your Blackboard is by signing in to myepcc.edu. Of course, there is also a Blackboard app for students that you can download from Google Play or the Apple Store if you want to view it at a glance. And that might be a good thing, because whenever I release announcements or I use announcements on Blackboard, you can have access to them on your phone immediately. You don't have to sit down at a computer, log on to Blackboard, and then review the announcements. Okay, so once you have signed into your myepcc webpage, again, that would be my.epcc.edu, and it'll sign you in with your credentials, right? So that means your email address and the password you set up. If you have not done that yet, please make sure that you contact any administrator to make sure that you have full access to that. Anyways, once you're ready, you can go ahead and click on Blackboard. It'll take you to the Blackboard page itself, which for you will look like this, right? Or it'll give you the option of selecting your courses from that list by choosing the book, and then you're going to choose 12704.202310 English 1301-A9 Composition 1. That's the name of the course. That's this one. You're going to click on it, And once you click on it, it should bring you immediately to the syllabus page. Now, some of you did raise some concerns about the syllabus. It has been updated appropriately um, and adjusted, so we're going to cover that in full detail. But you'll see once you click the link, it'll give you the option to browse or view the syllabus in app, or you can go ahead and choose to download. Give me a sec. And so again, that link will bring it up so that you can go ahead and view it in app, or you can click to download the syllabus by using the documents here. If you prefer to have a physical copy, I'm not sure why you would, being that it's an online course. You can always download it and print it on your own computer. So after we have clicked on the syllabus, you can also view the documents and information within week 1. That's how you're going to access most of the content. It'll be weekly, and you'll see it there. So when you click on this link for Amy Tan's Mother Tongue, it'll take you to it. It's a PDF, so you can go ahead and read through it. I think it's about 3 pages. So you're required to read the text in its entirety, all 3 of those pages, a little bit into the 4th, and then you're going to then choose to discuss that on the discussion board. So if you click there on the discussion board, you'll see I have the literature discussions made available. In this case, through the student view, which is what we have right now. You can see it says student preview. You can go ahead and see which threads are posted at the time. And so all you have to do is click on that thread. You'll see that I always post the main thread, and then you can reply. For example, I replied as a sample using the preview user or the student user. Still has my name, but you'll see that I've replied and given you an example. For this reply, I said the part that I found most fascinating was the line where Tan writes, and when the doctor finally called her daughter, me, who spoke in perfect English, lo and behold, we had assurances that the CAT scan would be found, promises that a conference call on Monday would be held, and apologies for any suffering my mother had gone through for a most regrettable mistake. To me, it seems horrifying, and this is me responding to it, right? I put the quote or the text, the line from the text that I wanted to talk about in quotation marks, and then I am now going to be replying to it. To me, it seems horrifying that a person's ability to receive proper care in the United States specifically can be determined by how well they can speak a language. Even the fact that a person would work harder to find missing paperwork, in this case the doctor, when it is obvious that was the same thing her mother, Amy Tan's mother, wanted, makes me wonder how many people have had life-saving health care withheld because of a language barrier, right? So I engage with the text, and I also offer an opinion that I would like to have discussed, right? That means that somebody can come in and say, oh yeah, I wonder how much the language barrier, even if you were in college, even in college, you'll know that, or you'll realize that students that come from Juarez tend to have a more difficult time because everything, even in a collegiate level, is expected to be taught in English, right? So that's what I'm opening up to. That's what I'm hoping to have discussions. People are more than welcome to take my opinion or position and relate it to their own personal opinions or positions, and then reply to it. Again, be kind and informative in the way you engage. Do not just come in here and be like, well, it's America, so you should speak English. While you may have that opinion and position, you're more than welcome to. You're not adding to it by discussing why you feel English is a language that should only be spoken in the U.S. You're not getting to the root of it. You're just kind of repeating a position without any detail. Okay, so as you can see, one student already has. Good job. So then once you start submitting your assignments for the diagnostic, say once we cover it on Thursday and you're ready to submit your essay, you can go ahead and click on the diagnostic essay. Here you'll see the exactly what we had covered before, which is going to be the assignment information and the assignment submissions. So here I'm going to browse local files. I'm going to choose student sample. Um, we'll go ahead and select this one for now. You'll click it as a submission. You'll see that it loads here, as well as it'll have a file name here. Um, you must always agree to submit your paper to the Global Reference Database as an anti-plagiarism tool. It is required. And then you're going to hit the submit button, which is always in the foreground, just hovering above the page. And then you're going to hit submit. Okay. I'm not going to, again, this is me submitting to my own class, but that's all you would have to do as a student. Next, any links that I provide, you can go ahead and click to review. We're going to talk again APA style page setup, and we'll go through a sample, sort similar to how we're doing now, with the use of a PowerPoint, and we can go ahead and load that on Thursday. All right. So aside from that, I've also provided the syllabus here. Again, you'll also find the link and the file for this video on this week one, but of course they will be added to the bottom every week, or every lecture, once it's posted, will be added to the bottom. So that's it for this section of it. We're going to go ahead and get into the discussion of the syllabus in more depth. So if you need to take a break, please do pause the video now and then get yourself a drink of water. I know I will. And then we'll continue with the discussion. Okay, welcome back. Those of you that took a break, everybody else, we're powering through. So let's go ahead and cover the syllabus in its entirety. So as we discussed from the sample, my cell phone number is there. You may call or text. If you have any questions that are immediate and need a response as soon as possible. Now, I hate to disappoint, but the fact that I do work a full-time job and I teach 5 part-time classes means that chances are I will not be answering the phone, because I will be in one class or an office working. So with that being said, you can always email me at rtinaje5@epcc.edu, but it will take me about a maximum, I should say, of 24 hours to reply. So again, that's what the cell phone number is for, because I can and will mostly reply within an hour or so. Now, if I get really busy in the office where I work, it might take me an hour or two, but you'll at least get a response more quickly than if you had just left me an email, because I will not have access to that email while I work. And again, no texts are going to be required. All that you really need for this class is any laptop, tablet, PC, or Mac that has access to Blackboard, right? That is a requirement for this course. If you cannot access Blackboard reliably throughout the course of the semester, then we might have some issues as far as continuing keeping up with the work, etc. So consider all of that before you decide to continue forward, or if you decide you would like to maybe try a different course. You can still do anything you might need to do. Let's go ahead and change this to, whoopsie. Let's go ahead and zoom in here and make it a little bit easier. As we've been going through, I want to welcome you to English 1301. I want to sincerely thank you for being in my class and allowing me the opportunity to get to know each and every one of you. I want to offer my hand in friendship and mentorship, but with that always comes an agreement on your end as well. First, in this class, I ask that you work hard and submit your essays on time throughout the course of the semester. Please complete them fully and submit them by their due dates. And but I should say, I do want you to know that a failing grade is not the end of the line. For any major assignment, I offer revisions, which means that I will give you the opportunity to rewrite it and then improve your grade if you do fail. But that takes an effort upon your part. And secondly, I need you to be consistent in your work online. That means I need you to make sure that you are accessing Blackboard, you're responding to discussion boards, you're engaged with your other students, and that you're reviewing and listening to the lectures as they're posted, as well as any sort of additional readings that we might need to cover. Okay, so if you do all that by the end of the semester, you should be able to demonstrate an ability to use rhetorical strategies, essay structure, research, and to cite your work, right? This means understanding the structures of essays and how they differ from each other, meaning the different forms of essays, as well as all the parts you might need to express your ideas within those essays. You'll also be able to demonstrate an improved understanding of English and use your academic voice because, of course, while slang is almost a derogatory term, um, I don't necessarily think the way language evolves and is used by others is a bad thing. It's how it's always been done, and it's always how it's used. That's why English, American Standard English, varies from British or European Standard English. Or so, with that being said, um, there's still a rigid criteria for what an essay is and how we use language in those essays. So because of that, I will be um, holding you to a little bit of a higher standard in the language you use as per the college requirement, because it's as you go higher up in your education, there might be some instructors who feel the same way I do about the use of slang and its contemporary nature, meaning that it's really part of how we are now, and it's a great capsule to see how life and people existed within that certain time frame. And so it should be used or should be allowed. There are still those hardline academics that you're going to come across in the future of any field that say, no, this is a structure, this is a form, and if you vary or you deviate from those, then you're going to suffer academically. So, for that being said, that's why I will be enforcing the academic voice, not very rigidly, but I will always point out any sort of slang or um, colloquial use of language, and I will let you know that it was not proper for this instance or whatever, right? So if you write an essay and you're like, oh yeah, it makes me feel some type of way, well, I understand it's a deep feeling, it's a sense of emotional sadness or a heaviness. Um, it's not appropriate for your academic voice. Okay, so next, you should also be able to analyze many forms of media or text to develop a unique opinion, right? Analyzation of the text and information is going to be key, and that's going to really be covered in more depth when we get to the analyzing of the visual media. Okay, but that means that you should be able to take a look at an image, or you should take a look and be able to read a text and kind of like get to the underlying purpose, right? What's the author's intent in writing this, or what's the visual intent from this movie, this music video, advertisement, or commercial, right? So hopefully we'll be able to do all of that. So additionally, you'll be able to understand the different forms of essay writing and their practical uses in college, right? So we should know when and how to write the different forms of essays and when they apply. Next, you should be able to learn to closely read and analyze text. This includes works by your peers, meaning that if you are to read an essay written by another student, you can really analyze and understand what their paper is trying to say, and that gives you the opportunity to offer constructive criticism, as well as how to apply criticism to your own work. So when you see how someone does something, you can take some of that information and decide, this is working and this is something I can incorporate in my own work, or this is not working, so this is something that I also do and I need to stay away from. Okay, lastly, we're going to you will be able to use the resources that the college offers to help you at any step of your writing, which includes things like the writing center or computer labs, as well as online sources such as the databases, etc. Now, you don't have to physically go to any of these, well, except for a computer lab. If you need to use a computer, then you have to go to a computer lab. But if you have access to a computer, you can visit the Writing Center virtually by setting up Blackboard meetings, or by email. And we'll cover a little bit more about their email as we go. So Next, you should be able to break down text and derive meaning related to your own experience. So when you analyze literature, you should be kind of focusing on the themes and motifs that are related to your own personal experience. Like, why is it important to you, and how does this reading affect you on a personal level? And for three, you should be able to develop, or you should develop the knowledge to help you do research through multiple modes, right? That includes things like the databases we're talking about, the differentiation between peer-reviewed sources and appropriate source information. In this case, peer does not mean students like you. You have peers, they're your students. But this means peers as in somebody who writes a work, say they're talking about Shakespeare, and they want to have it published. They have to have it reviewed by other scholars of that author, right? Other Shakespearean authors and professionals, or you would call them experts in their field, have to review this paper, and they have to say, yes, this is good. You can publish this. Um, and so we're going to understand how peer review works, and also what inappropriate sources might be out there that express opinions without peer review. Okay. Next, we'll also use, I should change this. We will not be using MLA. Instead, we'll be using APA format to cite your sources and integrate quotes. Um, this is going to be the most important part. With my online classes, I asked all of them how many of you are an English or a liberal arts major, and I think in 4 physical classes, only about 2 or 3 people raised their hand. So that's why MLA is used for uh, the creative art courses, humanities, things like that, where APA is going to be more your science, technology, and medical fields. And that's why, since most of our students at EPCC are geared towards those fields, that's why we're going to focus on APA format to cite and integrate our sources, right? And so the citation means to give credit to a source or a person's words that you're using in your essay, and that's by quoting them, and then ultimately at the end you're going to have a reference page that's going to give all the information about the person that you borrowed words from, and it's going to lead us to them by giving their name, the book or article that they were published in, and a link to it, etc., with some other information, and that's going to help you avoid things like unintentional plagiarism. Okay, so let's go ahead and get down into the assignments and the grade breakdown. So paper 1 that we're going to cover is a literacy narrative. Again, it can also be called personal narrative. So we're going to go ahead and go with that term, the personal narrative, more specifically. It's going to be, well, we'll cover a little bit more detail. That's going to be 15% of your total grade. The second paper is going to be a visual and media analysis, which is going to be a 15% of your total grade. Now, I will offer sort of a little bit of bonus points with that one if you choose to do a presentation, sort of like I'm doing now. If you want to create a PowerPoint, talk us through it and show your points, and then upload that to the assignment, then I will offer additional points for that. So with that being said, paper 3 is going to be your QEP and research paper. Now, while we are online, you will be expected to visit a local El Paso area location as part of the Quality Enhancement Program. That's what QEP stands for. So part of the Quality Enhancement Program is that you get to know the city or surroundings where you live, and that means visiting a place that you haven't gone to before, or researching someplace that you're not really familiar with. So again, we'll talk about it a little bit more in detail, but consider places that have some historic or historicity to it, right? That means a little bit of a history of an event location. For example, downtown off of I think Campbell Street, or was it Stanton, there used to be a bar, and where there was a famous shootout, one of the most well known for this region, I should say, which was called the 4 Dead in 5 Seconds. And you can visit the corner on which it happened, right? There's going to be a plaque downtown. Now, it doesn't look anything like it did in the 1800s, which was back in the cowboy days, right? But you can still kind of like visit that and then research the event, or you can choose to visit a historic location, places where um, you might find famous people. For example, I should say a cemetery where you might find some buried famous people. Um, for example, Concordia Cemetery, if that's someplace you're comfortable going with. There's also several haunted locales downtown that you're more than welcome to visit. Unfortunately, one of the big ones, the De Soto Hotel, did unfortunately burn down recently, so you won't be able to visit that one. Um, or even any natural areas. For example, most people do not know that in El Paso we have wetlands, and they're just like, oh man, this place is a desert. How can we have wetlands? Well, we are right on the mighty Rio Grande, right? So, uh, in some places, specifically down where Sunland Park is, um, there used to be long or wide stretches of the river that were about a mile wide and covered um, some land terrain, making it more of a wetlands, sort of swampy. And for that reason, they've begun to conservation efforts to make those wetlands thrive again. And so you might consider Keystone Heritage Park on the west side, or if you're more on the east side, there's also Rio Bosque, close to Socorro. Um, Either one, or any other location such as the Chamizal down on the border by Bowie High School. Um, but ultimately, the goal is to get you out there, get you to visit. Part of the proof that you went out there will be a selfie that I will require once you've chosen your location, meaning that you've gone to visit, and then researching it, seeing what other people or news articles have said about it, or even engaging with some Google or Yelp reviews of the location. But again, we'll cover more of that when we get closer to that essay. Paper 4 is going to be a movie review. So in class we will be watching a movie, but since you all are online, I will allow you the opportunity to watch a movie. Hopefully it's going to be something related to King Arthur or Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. The choice of which movie you watch is ultimately going to be yours. Um, but it should be some Arthurian legend based movie. A knight in, or was it a Yankee in King Arthur's court, anything like that. Um, if you want to watch it and write a movie review about it, that's your prerogative as far as what movie. But we will cover the details of what elements of a review can be addressed, such as acting, lighting, um, direction, sound score, special effects, etc. Um, as we get closer to it, and then finally, the APA will be. The APA quiz is going to be your final assignment. It will be posted during the finals time, so it'll be a full um, uh, exam, and it'll be worth as well. It'll also be worth 15% of your total grade, just like every paper. This is going to be a very important paper overall. Quiz. Now, the good thing is if all your essays are going to be due in APA format, and so if you do that successfully, or you've been writing every essay in APA format, then you shouldn't have a problem with this quiz. But I'll also, in the final week of class, post a study guide for it, and that way you can have that with you. If you do have the quiz, it will be timed, so that way you can't be going back and forth looking at the study guide and the APA quiz. But honestly, like I said, if you've been doing your essays, you won't even need the study guide. It'll be a piece of cake. And lastly, another 15% is going to be our weekly assignments. That's going to be pretty much everything that is due every week. And for 15 weeks, you'll notice that it's also worth 15 points. So those assignments are going to be approximately worth 1 point of your overall grade. So you can miss a few and still be okay, but I would suggest to make sure that you succeed and you get that A, that you don't miss any of those weekly assignments. Okay. Now, not posted here. There might be an opportunity for extra credit. Anything that the college offers, I will relay to you all, such as jazz at Sunset. I know that's coming up on September 16th. I have to get the details of it. If you um, post a picture of yourself with that or at that location, as well as a brief discussion of it for any extra credit opportunities, I'll post them on the discussion board. So that way you can include your selfie and a brief um, discussion on it, right? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What was the atmosphere like? What did you do while you were there? Things like that. Um, then you can go ahead and get extra credit, which will make up a missed weekly assignment or up to 10 points on one of your essays. Okay? But I'll provide those extra credit as we get closer to those events. Okay? And of course, participation in the discussion boards is going to be your 10%. This used to be a participation in attendance. Thank you for those of you that pointed out the attendance issue. Now, just by viewing this document, I can see how many people are reviewing it, and it'll give me everyone's name. So I don't necessarily think attendance is incorrect, but just to make it easier for everybody, we're going to go ahead and just say that your participation in the discussion boards is going to be that final 10% to make sure that you are engaging with everyone. So keep that in mind when you are writing, and any mean-spirited comments are just not going to count, right? I will go ahead and strike them from the board. And that it's going to give you your overall 100%. So here below that we have the assignments in a little bit more detail, but since I spent more time than I should covering them up in the assignment list, we can go ahead and cover that. So again, you have to have Blackboard. I will require that you submit your assignments through SafeAssign, which is a plagiarism detection tool. Now, does that mean that you intentionally plagiarize? No. There's sometimes a lot of the ways we express ourselves is going to have some commonality with the way other people express themselves. So there's always going to be some percentage of plagiarism that's going to show you. However, when it gets to a higher percentage of plagiarism, that means that 25 to 50% of what you're saying is word for word match of some other source. This tool will send me a link to that other source so that I can then review and see how much of it is indeed legitimately taken from another source. Even if you change the words, the general idea or concept remains the same, and it can be easily detected. Now, I'm not going to report anybody for their first instance of plagiarism. I trust that we all kind of sometimes get a little bit desperate and maybe unintentionally use a little bit more of someone else's words than we intend. So if that happens, you will be getting a message from me to set up a meeting, and then we're going to have a virtual conference discussing why it prompted the conversation we're having, and what we need to do to avoid it in the future. Now, if you submit a second assignment and it's also high scoring on the plagiarism tool, then I will unfortunately have to give you a 0 for that, and then we will have another virtual conversation or a conference and have a conversation on that again, so we can avoid it going forward past that. If it happens a third time, then you leave me no choice but to report you to the academic services, the dean, and then they will seek academic punishment for it. So overall, that's not what I want to do. The moral is just go ahead and use your own words. It's okay to have inspiration, but be honest to your own experiences and opinions, and I guarantee you that that experience and opinions will never trigger a high percentage of plagiarism in your SafeAssign. Okay? So for revisions, meaning that you failed an essay or you scored poorly, lower than you would like, for example, anything below an A, you will have the opportunity to rewrite that essay. However, in order to submit it to me, I require that you visit the Writing Center either in person or online, and you have proof of that visit, so that way I can go ahead and then accept your revision and grade your essay for a higher score. Again, I only allow revisions on anything lower than an A. While you might have got like a 90 or 92 on an essay, it's still an A, and for that reason, I'm not going to put much more effort on someone who's already doing well in the course. to improve a paper that's already exceeding expectations. Um, okay, so that doesn't mean I don't want to help you. If there's anything that specifically in there that you see, because I'll provide feedback on your essays. If there's anything that you have questions about or you're not sure, then you always let me know. We'll talk about it, and then I can go ahead and give you a little bit of guidance for that remaining up to 10%, right, from 90 to 100. You can seek any extra credit opportunity to try and help bring that all the way up if your goal is perfect marks throughout the semester. Additionally, another thing students pointed out is that Friday, December 2nd, is the last day to turn in any revisions. Before, I think it said May 6th, by midnight on Blackboard. There are no exceptions, so please make sure that you are submitting your final rewrites and resubmissions by that time, because that's going to be our last week 15 before finals, and I need to get those grades completed, turned in, and ready to go, so that when I have your final, I can upload everything to Blackboard. That final grade is then taken from that grade book and posted online for you. And so in order to avoid any accidentally going over or any late posting grades, I need to have all that by Friday, December 2nd. Okay. Here, there's a little bit more information about the Writing Center. Please do visit them if you are on campus at Valle Verde at A 1425. Every campus, so if there is another one that is closer to you, feel free to visit that one. But each campus has their own writing center and their own locations, so you would have to go online to find them for those other locations, or you can go ahead and send an email to www.epcc.edu/writing center Valle Verde, so that way you can go ahead and submit a digital copy of your essay in Word document format as well, so that way they can provide you any feedback on it. Okay. So, we don't need to cover too much classroom management since there's no physical classroom. Again, if you have to miss an assignment, you always feel free to email me and explain why. That way I can work on giving you an extension on any assignment if you cannot complete it by the due date, but you have to let me know ahead of time. So please do discuss that with me. Dropping class, if you are going to choose to drop the class, please meet with me prior. We can always talk about some alternatives or options before you end up throwing away your money, right? Because after I believe this week, maybe it's next week, I have to verify, you will not be getting your money back for this class. As a matter of fact, even if you drop now, you'll only get 75% of your of what you paid for the class back. So again, don't throw away that money. If there's something I can help you with, let's talk about it prior to dropping, even if it means working on a plan on what essays and what times to turn them in, so that way you can get it done and at least get out of here with a C, right? My goal is to help you all succeed, not just to sit here and fail everyone, okay? So please do talk to me. Safe assigned plagiarism, we did talk about that. And so the calendar, we will not spend too much more time on. We'll go by on a week-by-week basis, right? The topics are here. So you can always see them on a week, right, by week basis. So week 1, we're going to talk about this, the course introduction, as well as the syllabus. And then on Thursday, we're going to talk about the diagnostic essay, as well as cover a little bit of APA formatting guide. You'll see then under text and reading assignments, you'll have Amy Tan's mother tongue, as well as the discussion board on that due. And then by Friday, you'll have the diagnostic essay that is going to be due. Again, we're going to cover that diagnostic essay in more depth on Friday. And so, because we're already around the 50-minute mark, I don't want to take too much more time. If you have any questions, again, please reach out to me at my email address, or through Blackboard Messenger, or through my text, my personal cell phone number, and you can text me. So don't wait. Just send those messages as soon as you have those questions. I apologize if my cats have been annoying you throughout this. They're just a handful sometimes. Um, but again, thank you for your time, and hopefully we'll hear from you throughout the semester for any questions. And if you just want to have any conferences just to discuss, or video conference, if you just want to see what your professor looks like, just get a hold of me and we can Zoom meeting at any point in time. Okay? Have a great rest of your day, class.